My sister was diagnosed with liver failure. We didn't realise how poorly she was at the time. Having a discussion about an agreed plan with the healthcare professionals and the family unit is a huge benefit. We discussed the preferred places of care for her. We asked her where she wanted to die, and she gave us her answers, and that was all put in place by the hospital discharge team. In the end, my sister died where she wanted to be. She wanted to be at home. She was in her surroundings that she was happy in, and that was the best place for her. And because of that, she went in her sleep, and as a family as well, we were happy that we were surrounded with her. We were there with her, and she just went peacefully in the end. Yeah.
When explaining what EPaCCs is to a patient, I would tell them that the discussion that we've just had about their preferred priorities of care around the last stages of their life needs to be documented. And essentially all EPaCCs is a document that will be existing on GP records, but that will be able to be widely shared with any health and social care practitioner that would be coming into contact with them.
Create an EPaCCs record for anybody who I think is approaching the end of their life. And these are the people who you find it fairly easy to have the conversation with, because it's starting to come quite naturally.
EPaCCs can be very useful for situations where you have the frail elderly.
People who have really bad heart disease or such bad chest that they can't move around their own house.
Patients with long-term medical conditions, COPD being one of them.
And sometimes people are going to have things like renal dialysis.
It's really important to have that conversation and perhaps try and bring in carers and family as well. Because the patient might want a certain thing, but that might not be something that the family want. But when they realise that that is the patient's wishes, it's much easier to document and record this and to make sure that it actually happens.
There's two reasons you'd use an EPaCCs template. Firstly, as a clinician, you're using it because it's giving you a structure to record this information. It means you're following a kind of framework, which is the same as everyone else then, so you're making sure that you're not forgetting anything, you're recording it in a proper way. From a technical point of view, it's really important that information is recorded in a structured way. So using a template might be attaching particular read codes in the background. And this is really important because it actually enables the technical side of EPaCCs to happen. It allows the information to actually be shared.
The sort of people that will access an EPaCCs record are any healthcare professional that's involved in your care. So that's doctors, nurses, pharmacists, physiotherapists, and a wide range of people. But it's always going to be with your consent and with your knowledge.
The interesting thing about consent with EPaCCs is that patients actually think a lot of the time that it's happening already. More often than not, they'll be surprised that you're asking if information can be shared, because they'll think that you're already sharing information with the emergency services, with the hospital. And just make sure that you are asking their consent, that they do understand who you're sharing the information with.
Turning up at the scene of any incident can be a challenge.
It's open.
Obviously, when you're faced with patients with complex needs and clear wishes, it's a system such as EPaCCs that that provides information for clinicians and patients and relatives. It's a no-brainer.
If it's all right, we'll just have a quick look at your care plan, and then I'll get on with some routine observations. If that's all right. God.
At 3 in the morning particularly, there's not always pathways available, there's not always advice available, there's not always senior clinicians available, and the ambulance service have a habit of becoming the default safety net for these people. So if we arrive at these incidents with insufficient information, the risk is we make inappropriate decisions that are against the patient's needs or wishes.
Just on scene with a lady called Sally Turner, who I believe you know quite well.
Yes, I know this lady. I think the last time we discussed her in the Gold Standards Framework meeting, she didn't really want to go into hospital, I will just check her EPaCCs.
Yeah, she's adamant she doesn't want to go to hospital at all, and from the assessments we've done, we don't feel the hospital's the best place for her at this time.
Yeah, I mean, I can call out to see her within the next couple of hours.
The benefit to EPaCCs, it will give us that clarity that we need at the scene of a complex situation, sometimes an emergency situation. And clarity is something that you need quickly because you need to act appropriately.
It always feels very uncomfortable as a senior doctor in the emergency department going and speaking to patients or to relatives who are on an end-of-life care pathway and not actually having the information about previous conversations at your fingertips. Patients sometimes do have that conversation about what they want to happen in the event of coming to hospital and being very unwell, and that conversation can happen when their health and their communication is easier and better, and when they come to the emergency department, quite often they're so unwell that you cannot have that conversation, and that's a very difficult situation to be in. And again, having the information on an EPaCC system so that we can see what has the conversation been had, what the patient's wishes were, what the family's wishes were, makes it an awful lot easier.
The EPaCCC system has so much potential, particularly if we can get it rolled out across the country.
There's abundance of evidence and stories, and both anecdotal, to demonstrate that care plans work.
You're only recording information in one place, you're not having to go through different systems. You can record it in one place and be sure that it's going to everyone else that information needs to go to deliver the benefits to the patient. So it's about making your life easier as well.
Speaking from a personal point of view to anybody who's not already got this in place, it's a huge benefit to any family. It's peace of mind to a family when they're most vulnerable, they're emotional, they've got a family member who's poorly. You've got the confidence that everybody dealing with that person's care has got all the facts at their fingertips.